Looks like it's 6 o'clock. Town Board of Trustees, regular meeting September 14, 2023, Town Hall. Council Room 1, roll call, please.
Randy.
Here.
Bert.
Here.
Cliff.
Here.
Harold.
Here.
Dave.
Here. Report from Hennessey United Board. I know the cheese and, not the cheese, chocolate and wine festival is going to go very well. There's a lot of talk about making some changes next year, about maybe not really having the chocolate as one of the items, but have it more open to other vendors. I don't know how far that's going to go. But we're looking at new things to try to maybe bring more people to Hennessey. This is becoming a larger revenue, and maybe even by that time our pavilion would be ready, so we'll be over there in our new pavilion, and that would be super duper. And there's been a lot of contact between members and really getting a lot of stuff taken care of. I didn't hear how many people were signed up. Did you hear?
Yeah, there were so far, I think there were 8, and I think there's 9 now in the chocolate, and 8 so far. Is that what you've got on the wine? So, I mean, that was last week, I guess, when I was doing this, so I don't know if they've got any more or not.
So, and everything looks like it's in schedule to everything to go off without a hitch. Anything you want to add to that?
No, thank you.
Okay. Number 3, consider approval of consent agenda. A, minutes of the June meeting. B, approval.
Well, sorry, I didn't get that changed. It's not supposed to be June.
Oh, it's supposed to be.
August.
Okay. We need to make that change from June to August. I read it and didn't even realize it. It just zoomed right past it, huh? Minutes of the August meeting. Excuse me. Approval of claims as follows. August purchase orders, $2,556.75. September purchase orders, $31,495.71. September RSTF fund, $25,405.67. September library fund, $107.38. September street and alley fund, $2,297.89. C, accept the following reports, library and police. I make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Who seconded?
Bert.
Bert, okay. Cliff?
Yes.
Bert?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Harold?
Yes.
Dave?
No.
Four, citizen comments.
I have a citizen comment, if it pleases the board.
Yes, sir. David?
Last month at the August 10th meeting, there were some things mentioned that I feel need to be clarified or responded to. It was brought to my attention by several people that I know that asked me what was going on, and I hadn't watched the video, so I had no idea, but when I watched it, it was kind of a little unsettling. The comments were made that the lifeguards were working in high-risk situations because of not having umbrellas, and being the pool operator and responsible for all the equipment and processes of the pool, I wanted to make it fair to mention that there is an umbrella there that's in perfect working order, and none of the lifeguards approached myself or Shelley and asked for one. So, you know, the fact that it was a health risk and highly inexcusable in their opinion was erroneous at best. The other comment was that they had been given unprofessional treatment, and I don't know what that stems from, but you know, being as the previous statement was erroneous, this one I can only guess is erroneous at best, because I'm one of the main ones that they deal with, and I was nothing but professional and kind to all the lifeguards. The other thing, the last thing is that was brought up was the accounts that were unpaid and cut off due to being delinquent. Well, the question was asked when that took place, and the time frame was 2 to 3 months prior to last month, which would be when I was the acting administrator. Specifically, the Amazon and Sam's account. Sam's was delinquent due to non-payment because of one of the clerks had failed to send in the payments after being given invoices twice by myself. I copied them off and gave them to him. And then the Amazon account was the first mistake was made when not we, but the bill was sent in January, or the payment was sent in to the wrong place. When we were able to catch that, well, they emailed me, and we caught that and made efforts to correct it. And I was in communication with Amazon several times back and forth via email, and made them aware of the situation, that we had some new people in there and mistakes were made, and apologized. And at the time they said, this is fine, you know, we'll get it taken care of. And payments were made again, but either sent to the wrong place or mailed to a different company. There were instances where some payments were made to other creditors 2 or 3 times, and some didn't get paid at all, and I think Amazon and Sam's both fell into those categories. Even after discussing it with the clerks and making sure they had the invoices with the proper mailing addresses over and over and over, I did the best I could to make sure things were done right, excuse me, but it just didn't happen. So I wanted to make sure that those situations were explained, that the truth was brought out, and I kind of, you know, was resentful for a while because people inferred, you know, that I was doing a bad job or not doing, you know, just covering stuff up, and that's not the case, and I just don't think that it was right to be brought out in the way it was and put it in the paper and online and everything like that without any verification of the facts. So I appreciate your time.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for David, please.
Okay.
David, you just talked about the Amazon account.
Well, I don't think we can do that right now. It's the citizen comments.
So I can't question what he was discussing?
Really, we shouldn't let him even talk. That's a different story. When he's bringing up items that need to be brought up on the agenda.
There was no action required, I just wanted to respond.
Councilperson's report, probably.
I'm not sure, but I don't know.
Probably talk, David talked about down here in council person's report.
Okay.
Is it okay if I ask David if he's going to be here during the council person's report?
Yes.
David, will you remain here for the council person's report, or are you going to leave before we get there? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any other comments from the citizens? Okay, thank you, David. Have 4 town administration report. A, purchases. B, new employees. I saw that we had a policeman.
A reserve police officer, Brian Taylor, he was in a reserve since 2019. He has resigned. He's going to go be a reserve down in the city somewhere where he lives. Purchasing the fire station generator, they're not going to do that anymore. They're going to get a new one with their new building. And so since the storm shelter really needed a generator, so I'm going to have Farmers Electric move that generator down to the storm shelter so it would be used there.
I agree.
So everything else is on my report. If you have any other questions, please let me know.
Okay. Thank you.
I had a question, but I don't find your report.
It's underneath the fire and the police report.
I read it on the computer yesterday. Tiffany, I wanted to ask you about the pool money. Do I understand this right? That it was being directly deposited into the bank by who?
It was being directly deposited into the bank by the lifeguards. The managers, lifeguards, I'm not quite sure, but that money
We were
was,
told that was gonna happen at our August meeting, and I specifically came in the office and said that that was not legal. So was that money accounted for in our accounting system?
no, it was not. We're just now starting to look into that because we're gonna have to go through every day that the pool was open and we're gonna have to put all of that information into our accounting system.
So is there a way to match that with the receipts day by day?
They have daily reports, so we're gonna have to match the daily reports with the copy of the deposit slip and then with the copy that the bank gave us too. So, and then there's also credit cards that we're gonna have to make sure that all of the credit cards were accounted for too. So. I know we did find one or two of them where because they kept a book with copies of the deposit slips, and two of those, we have gone to the bank and verified that those slips match what deposits were put in the bank, but there were two of them that were wrong, that were off. Like the bank changed the amount. So,
Mr. Mayor,
Yes?
I have a question for Ms. Tillman.
Okay.
Ms. Tillman, you mentioned a credit card at the pool.
mhm.
Is there a credit card assigned to the pool?
What, a credit card machine?
No, I'm talking about, are you talking about a credit card for purchases? Or are you talking about a credit card machine for people to pay?
Credit card machine.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor.
Okay. Going to number 6, schedule other businesses. Discuss, approve, deny, reject, and/or take action on the following. Discussion with the possible action to approve change order number 1 for the REAP grant number KF23-2, showing an increase of $32,411.50 to the construction cost.
Let's see, I printed off everything that I had saved.
So is there any questions on the change order? There's an email that, I didn't know there was a change order, so there was an email that Brian Schwagel, your engineer, had sent with this change order.
No, I did not print
That's
off the
okay.
email. I can go print it off.
I've got it, if you want me to read it to you, is that okay? So for the change order, it says, to fill you in on the change order, the WL that is shown in historic record, I guess water line, right? That is shown in historic records that runs east of 7th was never found. Hennessey field personnel gave the go-ahead to do some additional potholing to try and locate the line. It appears it was never installed. From that, there is the potholing costs, the additional pipe and fittings to tie the new water line into the nearby main line and repairing the pavement. That's what the change order 2 was about, or this change order was about. In addition, there were 2 service connections that were further off-site that weren't picked up in the survey. Bert gave the okay to add the additional fire hydrant. We also found the contractor missed installing one of the gate valves, and we decided ultimately it wasn't needed. We can still isolate a portion of the line using the valve we did install. So that is why the change order is happening.
Ma'am, so sorry, Mr. Mayor, may I speak?
Yes.
So, ma'am, that's the only justification document that we have to go along with this?
That is, yes, that is why there is an increase in the cost is because of those activities taking place.
And previous verbal approval was on the fire hydrant by Bert.
Yes.
Do we have any other previous approvals other than that one?
We had that fire hydrant on the agenda.
Okay, so that's
That was
fine, and
approved
I
by
don't
the
know
board.
Yeah,
that,
that's what I
so-
thought, Bert.
Yeah, that was
I thought it
approved by
was
the
on the
board.
paperwork to begin with.
And that's fine, I'm not privy to that information, so,
And that was 96, I requested it because
yeah.
the next one going north is clear around the corner. But I'm not understanding what the rest of that $32,000 is.
It sounds like that whatever line we thought you were gonna tie into wasn't there.
Alyssa, can you enlighten us on that?
Which part? I caught the one about the valves. I mean, there's 3 valves, so we can isolate the whole thing.
Okay. But did they have trouble tying in?
Yeah, down there on 7th.
On 7th Street, our maps that we have are proposed, not as built. It shows a line runs from Main all the way down to Cemetery Road. It does not. It does not. It comes from across the park and over and down.
So if they were gonna tie onto the line that we thought was there, it wasn't there. So then that made them have to tie into a different location, which then added pipe.
So they have 60 there, and 2 there, 1 there. They had to remove $10,000 from one.
So they have the added fire hydrant inside this change order,
They've got it, yeah.
but it should have already been,
Well, you may have approved it, but now that the project's over, then all the final change orders that have happened throughout the project kind of come out towards the end.
okay,
So it wasn't added in and we're adding it a second time.
so it's,
So we approved these other change orders?
No, now we're asking to approve this change order. But here it said, I mean, the contractor kept going because Hennessey field personnel said it was okay to keep going.
Who? You got a name?
Nope.
Thank you. Brian, you or Alyssa got a name?
Nope, Brian Swagel was there, so.
That's your engineer.
Email that explains it.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I've got a recommendation.
Okay.
I recommend we table this for next month. So we can get more information. I'm sure Ms. Tillman will be able to get more information. I'd like to get more detailed information from Alyssa and/or Brian or both to see if they support us on this. And that's my opinion. If you guys want to vote on it, fine. If you don't, and agree with my tabling, I'm good with that too.
This was to David Trainer. David, would you have any?
Well,
I think the email addresses are all.
they're all messed up because of the
Yeah.
changes. It went to whoever the town administrator address.
Ms. Jennifer, what do you think? Is that gonna,
We have a
if we table
final,
for 1 month?
it just I mean, the town wants to apply another REAP grant cycle.
Yeah.
This prolongs that, and the deadline for the REAP grant is October 31st. This grant has to be closed by October 31st. So that, just keep that in mind. You guys do special meetings off and on, so it could be done at a special meeting. There's a final inspection that's happening on Monday about 1, I think, to look at this. So those questions can be asked at the 1 o'clock meeting if a board member wants to attend that meeting.
Cliff,
Or
I'm
Tiffany
sorry, I
will be
just-
there, so she can ask those questions.
I just feel like I'll be honest with you, I feel like the engineering firm hasn't got us prepared and up to date on this stuff. That's my opinion. Jennifer can only do so much, and so can Ms. Tillman and our supervisors.
Well, it might, the normal course of change orders is it gets approved before the activities happen. So this late in the game, I don't know in the process how it didn't get approved first before the work happened. Because that's generally how it flows in the grant world, so.
It doesn't
I
sound.
understand.
So,
To me.
I'm not sure, I mean, other than just saying Hennessey Field personnel gave the go-ahead to do more potholing, which they needed to find a tie-in place, you know, so that's, you know, I think an okay thing to approve in the field. But then the additional pipe and fittings and all that, I don't know, obviously that was a big expense, and I don't know, we don't know where that approval came from. So it can be tabled.
Let me ask you a question, if we table it, which I agree, I think we should, are we going to jeopardize our chances of getting in the next REAP cycle?
I think if you do a special meeting to get the final approvals done, because right now, all of the funds are expended. We're just trying to finish the project out, so we have these final invoices that need to get paid. I mean, I've kept up on the file, so I could monitor the file real easy to make sure everything's in there. And then we just need to do the closeout. So as long as all of that could happen by October 31st, you're golden. Yeah.
Does our grant cover this $32,000 or was that $32,000?
Right now, everything is out of your pocket. So this invoice that we would like to approve tonight is out of your pocket, and so is anything else after that.
Okay.
So roughly, we're only looking about probably $20-some thousand, because we already approved the fire hydrant.
10,
Right.
yeah.
Right, you
Yeah.
approved the fire, but you didn't pay it, so that,
Right,
don't
right.
take it out. So it's still 32.
But we approved already, we already approved. the
Right.
fire hydrant. So we're talking about 22,000 that,
Well,
basically. that.
sort of sounds to me like we need a meeting with the contractor and our engineer, because every project I've ever been involved with, change orders are approved, as was the fire hydrant, as we go along. And not, surprise, here we are afterwards that we want $32,411 more dollars. So I agree with you, David, I think it needs to be tabled.
Mr. Mayor, I got a question for Ms. Tillman.
Okay.
Have you been on board again long enough to have an opinion on this?
That's why Jennifer's here too, because she's been this whole thing and I've been out. But I agree with you guys. I mean, the change orders have to happen before they actually do the work. I mean, legally.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
And so, especially if it's not within, you know, it's a contract, so it has to be approved by the board prior to the work being done. So,
Thank you.
I just have one more question. Is the work completed
Yes. Final inspection is supposed to happen Monday at 1.
at 1? Okay, I'll be there.
Who said that? Who said I'll be there?
I will be there.
Thank you, Cliff.
And if you'd like to be there, David, you're more than welcome to do it.
we have that one at 1 and the other one at 2.
Drainage is at 2.
Okay. Where are we gonna meet at 1 o'clock? We're gonna meet
I'm assuming it was here.
here?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll meet here at 1 o'clock. Thank you. On the recommendation, we're gonna table this.
Just don't say next month. We're just gonna can we just say we're gonna table it, right?
Yes,
Because then if we need to do a special meeting, you can.
right.
Okay.
B, discussion with possible action to approve pay application for number 2, REAP grant KF23-2, using local funds.
So this has the change order in it, so my assumption is that's not gonna get paid for today.
Okay, we'll table that. C is discussion with the ownership of the Cow Palace.
I've been approached by the county guys about, I guess the cow palace has got some damage done to it. And I actually called Bert, 'cause he's the oldest guy I know that's been around. Who owns the cow palace? You know, it's on Garfield County land, but the town of Hennessey built the building.
No, the town of Hennessey didn't.
Well, we did it by donations.
There's a bunch of local farmers and agricultural people who built it and built it on county
Yeah,
land.
the town, or the town board didn't.
And yeah, the town board didn't do it. It was citizens, citizens of Hennessey that done it. So the county's looking at it as the town of Hennessey owns the building and the county just owns the land. They want the Cow Palace to be condemned because it's got mold in it or whatever. And, you know, I think they want us to have the black eye so they can tear it down. That's my own opinion of it, but.
I think, and this is going back a couple of years ago, but Ray, he knows that, because they pay the water bill, they pay all of the bills down there, so I think they're aware that that's actually a county building.
Well, they think it is, but since it was built by the citizens of Hennessey, I guess that's where the line is drawn. So,
It's the county.
County business too.
Yeah.
you know, I asked Bert about it.
I remember at the time, the only participation the town had in it was buying tables and chairs.
Yeah.
The town purchased tables and chairs to put in there, but the town has never received any rent from renting it out or any of that sort of thing, so.
So, but anyway,
It's the counties.
but if,
Do they want us to, I remember you calling us talking about, it seemed like they wanted us to tear it down or something.
no, they just want us to condemn it. They take care of that. They want to build a new county barn there.
I think their county health department could probably condemn it if it's got mold.
You know? So,
I don't know.
and maybe they want also us to, make sure we didn't have
So I
anything.
said, maybe they just want you all to sign off on it, but we've gone through that years ago, and it belongs to the county, you know, the building.
But that's, I mean, we just need to, you know, tell them something over there. You know, like me and you
Have
talk.
you been in it, Harold?
I not have not been in it, you know, my deal is you just have a little bit of black spot on the wall, you know? But when you have mold, how much is it gonna take to fix it, you know? Guys gotta run in with white suits and blah, 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 it could cost thousands of dollars to fix it, you know? But I have not been in it, you know, like me and you talk, you know?
Yeah.
We can spray a little bit of chlorine or Clorox on it and knock it out. The building does not have electricity now. You know, that truck that hit that pole, they didn't put, they did not hook it back up, so, you know, I don't know. I asked Tony Hickey to look into it, you know, see what it would take for us to do, you know, but if we don't own nothing of it, then it's all on the county. I mean, I wouldn't know why they wouldn't be able to go do what they want to do with it.
Did you talk to Commissioner?
Ray,
Did you talk to Ray?
yeah,
Okay.
so, he was just wanting to make sure that the town of Hennessey didn't have anything with it, so.
Well, we know.
You know,
I think he's just wanting our blessings on demolishing it or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, well, citizens of Hennessey actually paid to put the building.
Yeah, they raise money,
You know, it would be something that maybe you'd want to, you know, they might just be wanting to do a courtesy thing, since the town of Hennessey people did raise money to put the building up, so. Just kind of like that, that's all I have. You can go to another, just discussion.
Okay. D, discussion of the members of the planning board and board of adjustments and finding replacements for those who are no longer able to serve. These are the people that's on there now,
Yes.
and the people that want to be taken off are,
I assume Mr. K is, from what I hear, he's no longer,
Right.
People,
I think he
who?
is,
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Mr. Canarian, I believe, has requested to come on.
The other one would be Logan Macy, if he moves out of city limits.
He'll be new.
Gary Steinbring, he had mentioned to me before that if we could find a replacement, he would like to.
Aren't there terms for these offices? Have all these people termed out, or do you
Yeah, we
know?
just never really like replace them or.
We probably need to get we probably need to figure out what terms each of these people hold. And,
Hey, Bert, it may be served until replaced.
well, it may be. I'd like to see us get that word out, and one of two things happen. Maybe somebody might be interested in wanting to serve on one of these boards. And the other thing is, if not, I guess some of the board members can go out and twist arms and see if they can talk anybody into it.
We need help
Because we need
from our
help.
community for the planning board, and we
And I-
need help for the Board of Adjustments. If you would like to be on that committee, would you like to contact Town Hall? And we will see if we can put you on there.
And we need some Spanish-speaking folks to be involved too, if at all possible.
I agree.
So please comment. E, discussion with possible action to appoint emergency management director. I have been approached by a person that would like to be on this. When we had the disaster, I found out that the mayor is the guy, so I fell down on my job, but
Never tell you that to you.
quickly came to it, and we was able to, as a board, do what we needed to do. And we are looking at a couple of people. We're talking to a person in Kingfisher, and also Libby would like to do that. So would you like to say something about being the person?
Sure. It's something I have been interested in a while. I approached Bert about it months ago. I think that we've kind of seen that not really a need for it in Hennessey. We don't really have major things happen that often. But as we all saw with the last storm, an emergency manager really could have helped the process go smoother with the recovery part of it. Also with little things, like little I say, but house fires, things like that, finding support statewide for people. Right now, if there's a house fire, the county emergency management comes down to speak with the homeowners about any aid that they might need. But that way, that someone local would be able to coordinate that for them.
I do know that there's a lot of learning situation to go through. I know there's a week school to go to. I know there's meetings once a month to go to. I know there's a lot more involved than just being ready to go when we have an emergency. And is that going to be something that you're going to be able to do?
Absolutely. I've already been going to those meetings. I actually was at one this morning. But there is a lot of training involved, but I am more than happy and willing to go through all of that.
One other thing I would like to mention also while we're talking about this, I would like to have some sort of payment when this person is doing that. I would like to, and not just have it just on their own, but just to I want to put that out there that we need to be able to
Compensate them for it.
right, and also do other,
I had spoken with Ryan Deathbridge a couple of months back, and again recently. He's our assistant county emergency management director, about being Hennessey's emergency management director. The emergency management director in Kingfisher County, Steve Loftus, and he also is Kingfisher City emergency management director. So there is a possibility that Ryan could serve Hennessey as ours, where he's already got the training and going to the schools, and has requested that we put in if we're interested in doing that, we put in a request to the county commissioners to negotiate. So instead of paying him directly, we would pay the county, because the county is basically already paying him, is how I understand
Okay.
that would work. So probably something we need to talk to the commissioners about.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I've got the business phone ordered to myself, so I'm gonna keep checking.
Is there anything at this time? Okay, thank you, Libby, appreciate that. We'll go on with more with this, and we will, hopefully before we have another emergency, that we'll have somebody in place. And thank you. F, discussion with possible action to approve the night deposit agreement with authorized persons for interbank as well as the deposit bag pickup authorization.
So in our code book, it says that the treasurer or the town clerk would make the nightly deposits. And so to me, that the night depository needs to be probably your treasurer, your deputy treasurer, your clerk, and your deputy clerk. And that they would be responsible for dropping off bank bags into the night drop. As far as picking the bags up, it's not as bad because, I mean, it's not as big of a thing because picking them up, it's just a copy of the receipt. And so there's no money or anything like that. But I do think that we need to, that night depository needs to be with what our code book says.
Is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't our code book reflect state law on that?
Correct.
And then also state law?
And then our, you know, our treasurers are bonded, and then our clerks are too, so.
Since neither one of our clerks work here, how does that work?
What do you mean?
Well, are we gonna pay them to come here and make the deposit every time Shelley can't do it?
Well, if Shelley can't do it, then we would call one of them to say, hey, can you come by and pick up the bank bag and take it to the bank?
What if they can't, is what I'm asking.
I mean, hopefully out of
'Cause
Keith, me, and Kelly, and Katie, I'm hoping that one of them would,
If they ain't keep me, our deputy.
treasurer.
Does Keith know that he's still the deputy treasurer? I didn't mean to be funny on that.
No.
I actually replaced Keith on the board, so that's why that question popped into my mind, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine, no problem.
No, we asked him.
I didn't know that, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't know that, thank you.
Yeah.
No, I laughed because I didn't even know.
Do we need a motion?
Yeah.
Okay. I make a motion to have our night depository bags according to law with,
Probably need to,
Maybe
Maybe
expand
say-
on that a little bit.
I'm sorry,
town clerk, town treasurer,
motion for town.
deputy town clerk, and deputy town treasurer. I design. I design.
I make a motion for the town clerk, the deputy town clerk, and the trustee, treasurer, and the deputy treasurer for the night deposits.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Cliff,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Bert,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes,
G, discussion with possible action for ideas to the FY '24 REAP grant, which is due October 31st, 2023.
Can I say something?
Yes?
Back toward probably midsummer, the school was wanting to expand parking and fill in the ditch on Mitchell Road in front of the early I think there's parking there, but in front of the elementary, the middle school, and on up to a portion of the high school. And they got bids, and they didn't pursue that because we've got a water line going right under that ditch. I had talked to Mr. Sternberger about it, probably a month or two ago, and he said that that they did not want to cover our water line because they knew it was old, and then us have to come in and break it out and do repair work on it. I can also say that the fire hydrant there at Iowa and Mitchell by the Early Childhood Center is an old one. The one in front of the middle school is an old one. They're extremely hard to open and they don't flow well. So I'm wondering if we could possibly put grant money toward replacing that line, getting better hydrants to protect our school buildings, and at the same time, then the school could cover over that, and eventually something may happen that would buy a lot of time going down the road, probably before it did, hopefully. I think we'd be talking probably Oklahoma Avenue to Iowa. I'm trying to think, does the elementary parking lot,
Yes.
does it go all the way out to Mitchell?
No.
So it would be all the way to Iowa then.
Bert, with two fire hydrants down over there during that project, that would have to be done during the summertime, wouldn't it? While school wasn't in
Yes.
progress?
Yes. That's what I think, Dave.
I just wondered how that would fit in the grant schedule, like we were talking earlier.
Well, so the REAP grant on a water project is you have a year. And
Oh, okay.
so by the time, like, the application deadline is the 31st, in November, we get everything scored and try to get it to the board to approve, because our meetings are at the end of November. And then the first part of December, we let everybody know who's funded or not funded, and then contracts come out in January. So your contract would generally be January to January. So you'd have a January
Yeah, we'd have at least a full
24
summer
to
in there.
January 25, so the summer would be covered.
Have one full summer to get the
Problem
project
is,
done.
the school would want to do that paving project while school's
Yeah,
out as well.
Yeah.
If maybe if the town were able to do this, if we could possibly get in there in the spring, so it'd be ready when school's out, and just make sure that they were able to keep some of those fire hydrants live along there.
Now, what you're talking about is opening up the dirt work early, leaving the pipes and the water hydrants there until the day
At
school
least
is
get
out.
part of it done.
And then cut them off and go
be
for it.
ready. Maybe that could be in our bid specs
I
with
see what
the
you're saying.
contract.
That would fit our grant schedule.
Yeah, yeah. I have no idea what a project like that might cost, but I really think it would be something that would benefit the town and our school and our kids out there as well, so.
So what size of line would we be talking about?
Tiffany, I think that's probably a 6, isn't it? I would say a minimum of 6. It would be nice to put in an 8 so that if we could come up to it at some point on either end with an 8. How far south would we have to go to hit an 8? To 3rd? Because I think that main comes up Mitchell with an 8 and goes west on 3rd to hit this water tower up here. So at some point, maybe we could do that and put an 8 all the way down Mitchell Road, which would be awesome. Would help fire protection a ton.
We did about 3 blocks over here, right on Delmar. But that was a 6-inch line.
And
There
that
wouldn't
was,
be as much
$10,000.
tabs or.
that was
anything like that.
250, 250,
You're talking about the current one?
yeah. How much?
It's more than that.
They actually put that line in before they disconnected the other line too, so.
Yeah, I would think that that's what you would want to do for the school too.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, maybe we could get going before, with our part, before school is actually out.
That, almost 218,000 for those, your current 3 blocks.
218?
That's before any change orders was 218.
How much are you able to scrape up in a REAP grant for us?
I don't make the call. It's
Well,
all points, it's
but
all
we
what,
want- but we want
points.
to.
There's no cap. You can ask for what you need. If you add local leverage, you get more points. 10% is the minimum you can get points on, that's 5 extra points. We have 2.5 million to be able to award out to 8 counties
We'll just
this
take it
year.
all.
Right, we'll just take all. Those are, and then the max we gave out last year was about 159,000.
Are there any points for additional fire protection or because it is a school?
Yeah, I would think so.
No.
Really? Huh. I know, I really would have thought it would have been.
There's a
the school.
category you apply in, and you
Yeah.
get points for applying in that category. But when you start getting to emergency services, it's about 40 points. Infrastructure is, I believe, 40 points as well. So that you're not really gaining anything. Economic development is 60, that's the top.
Can you, Bert had asked me about the CDBG REAP, but can you explain to why we couldn't use that for the CDBG?
You
Because
can.
of the income survey part.
Right, so because the area, you have a townwide one that we did, and then you have a targeted area that we've been doing our drainage in. So you qualify. So if we're going to work, I don't know if it's the same income survey, same area we'll cover, but it's based then on population. So it's 2,000 per person. So you may not be able to ask for as much money in CDBG, like you couldn't ask for 600,000 because your population base may say you could only get 200,000. So the CDBG REAP combo grant that is out there, you get the same amount from both grants in one, and that's $136,363.63. Yeah, divided by 11. So, so that in the federal and that in the state for a $272,000 grant. That goes generally to one person per COG, and if several in that COG compete for this, then based on points or the greatest need, like a consent order or those kind of things, they would get top priority. And then at that point, you don't compete against the money, you just do the paperwork right for the federal side and you get the grant. This is my favorite grant. I try to push that on everybody, but unfortunately, only one can get that grant.
So, but this would qualify.
This would qualify. We would just have to look at the income survey where the location was and get a cost estimate to see. And right now, I know there's a couple of other entities that would also like to go for this grant at NODA.
What, Jennifer, because I'm a little bit lost on this, what would be, if we decided we wanted to do that, what, would we say that that's what we're gonna use our REAP grant for?
Yes.
Or we get cost estimates first and then come back in a meeting and say that's what we wanna use it for? Or
By the time your REAP grant is submitted, we need to know that your income survey is good, obviously, because you're submitting your application. You'd have to have that cost estimate, and so we would want to check all that out by October 31st to say, yes, you're a good candidate for that grant.
Okay.
And if you weren't and still wanted to go that way, the income survey would need to be done by October 31st to make sure you qualify, so we don't get stuck at NODA trying to scramble after REAP season to find somebody to get this grant. There's lots of options out there. I've always wondered why you don't put those two grants together. for one big project, because they've been small enough that you've been able to work in 2 different sections of town and get 2 different projects done. But you can put these 2 together.
That would really be, I think that would be a great project for it because it would help such a cross-section of the community.
We know during school, we got like 1,000 people on that block.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to look at the current survey and see if it covers that area. But because we're going water line though, not drainage, we may have to, just have to look at it.
I would like to move forward on that. So do you need to make a motion on that?
Were there any other ideas for projects?
Do you have any ideas
Me?
for a grant? Yes.
Not at this time, no.
Because we gotta have it ready by October 31st.
Yeah.
And everything done.
I understand. So I'm kind of weak in that department.
Me too.
Jennifer, do we, I guess we go ahead and make a motion then to pursue a REAP grant for that particular purpose? Is that?
I don't know, what do you guys normally do?
Well, that way it gives me direction on,
Okay.
on, you know, because you gotta start getting cost estimates, you gotta start, you have to start preparing everything.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to pursue a REAP grant for water line and fire hydrant replacement between Oklahoma Avenue and Iowa along Mitchell Road.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bert,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Cliff.
Yes. H, discussion with the Hennessey Town Codes recodification,
Codification.
thank you. Draft copy with discussion on how to proceed.
So, this was received at the end of August, and we need to review it. It's the recodification. It's putting all of the ordinances that have been passed since 2006 into the current code book, which is that. And so they have it all ready for us to start reviewing. I'm gonna take this to Staples and have them actually copy this and put it in some type of thing for you guys, so it's not like on a binder clip, you know, because I wouldn't be able to. Plus, I think it would kill our copier to do
Yes.
5 copies of this. So I'm gonna get that done within the next couple of days so you guys can start reviewing this, but we're gonna need to set up some like study session or, you know, some work sessions to be able to go through this and like talk about it and see if there's anything that you guys see that needs to be changed or in this.
Wow.
Tiffany, did we use a contract company to do that last time?
Okay, so the contract company, yes, we, you know, back when I was here before, we did hire American Legal.
Maybe you said this, I was.
And so
concentrating on my
they
motion.
have taken, American Legal Publishing, they have taken all of our ordinances that we've passed since 2006 and they've put them into our book, and that's what this is. But you guys need to go through there and make sure you don't see anything different, that you guys need to make changes, or there may be questions in here. There's different things that they want us to review, things like that.
Comment, please.
Go ahead.
I'd like to get my hands on my copy several days before we start
Oh, yes.
seminars or workshops or whatever you want to call them.
Yes,
Because I'm going to want to go through that probably more than once.
I agree.
I love to read.
You get plenty of it there.
It's a hobby of mine.
But yes, I will get it to you guys probably by Monday next week.
Even boring stuff. Thank you, Miss Tiffany.
Did we not have that where you can get it online? I mean, they can get it on their computers in addition to that, maybe? I
I'll
mean,
call them and ask them, I don't know, they
I would
send
think
us hard
sometimes
copies.
we're used to reading on computers.
I know, sometimes I like
You want yours
reading
hard copy?
Comment,
no?
please.
hard copy.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I prefer a hard copy,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I can write on it.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's all I have
Okay,
on this one.
please,
Okay.
thank you. New business. Any matter not known which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of posting the agenda in accordance with the section 311-9 title 25 OS. Citizen comments? Council comments, David?
I'll go for David real quick, because I know he's gonna take a little longer than I am.
Okay.
Tiffany, I got you a question. I asked you about the drain on Third and Mitchell Road. Did you ever check into that? What's the deal on that?
Well, it's on the HUA agenda,
Yeah.
and so that's why I have David staying.
Okay.
But if you want to address it now,
I'm good.
okay.
I didn't know if you was leaving or not.
No,
so.
I'm here for, I didn't know that that was on the agenda, so I'm staying, because
Okay.
it's the grant, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's David now.
My turn?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. David, earlier you were talking about some things that had been brought up in the last meeting, and you talked about, our Sam's Club account, and you talked about our Amazon account. Were you talking specifically about credit card accounts, or were you talking about some other
The
kind of
store
accounts?
accounts.
Say it again?
The accounts we have, I don't think they're credit cards. It's just a store account is what I call them.
Okay.
The old time, you just walk in and
Yeah.
get credit and pay it on
So-
the bill, so.
So the reason I'm asking is I've made several records requests on credit card data, and I've never seen any Amazon
Yeah.
credit card data.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna move to Ms. Tillman, because I know she knows the answer to this. So how do we treat that Amazon account? Is it in our financial management database as a vendor? Is that the way it works? And the Sam's Club is the same way? And I know I've gotten some data on Staples and Lowe's. Do we treat them the same way?
Yes, sir.
All that data is in the financial management database?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I want to look at some of those records, I need to stop making credit card requests. And I need to start making requests for that information coming out of the CIC database. Is that right?
Well, so we could run you a report, like on invoices that have been paid
Yeah,
through the CIC system.
Yeah.
But then we also have hard copies of the invoices, with the claim vouchers and stuff like that we keep, that the auditors go through and the
Yeah.
accountant and all of that.
yeah. And those are the supporting documents that we have in our purchase order folders that we actually go through, but I may or may not get to see that, being as I sign only my purchase order, my purchase order folder.
Yes.
Okay, well, that clarifies a lot of my confusion on trying to get a look at some of the monies we're spending. And I've told these guys probably 2 or 3 times, and I know they get tired of hearing it, but I'm very, very interested in financial information. I think most people in the room probably know that. And that's why I asked for a lot of it. So I'm gonna take what I've learned tonight, and I'm probably gonna hit you guys up for some information out of that database. And if I ask for something that is difficult to get, just tell me, and I'll try to change my request to make it easier on you guys as far as getting the information out of the CIC database. And to be honest with you, sometime I need to know what reports are available out of that database. So I can, and have them explained to me, so I can pick and choose what I want to see and minimize the workload I'm putting on you guys on the records request. Another thing is okay, enough on that. Is there any other thing other than the Amazon? So basically, all of our credit card accounts are in that CIC database too, is that right? Along with these store type accounts?
We don't have an actual credit card. There's not an actual credit card. There's only the store accounts.
Okay, I got it. Okay, Staples, Lowe's, it's all the same?
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
Yes. Now, I will, because it has been brought up, there was a debit card that Bert knew that I got because I had to book like 7 rooms for OML last year.
Yeah.
And so there was a debit card that was issued, but the day that I resigned, I took it to the bank and they shredded it.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about
Okay.
that.
But that's the only other one that there was.
Yeah, I appreciate that information, but I was talking about these, you know, I have repeatedly made credit card information requests, and I've had trouble getting the information I was looking for. Now I understand it based on David briefing a few minutes ago and answering my questions. And that will simplify what I'm looking for, and it'll also simplify what I want from you guys. And appreciate it.
David,
I'm done.
Oh, well, it's probably not my turn, but I just wanted to respond. I think I had told you at one time the town didn't have credit cards. And I'm thinking credit cards like Chase and things like that, like what any of us would carry. Because I didn't really consider a Lowe's card credit card. I mean, it's just for that one store, more of a store charge.
Yeah, I
So.
understand.
So anyway, that's why I said there weren't
very
credit
good.
cards at that time.
Very good, very enlightening for me. Thank you, Bert and Ms. Tillman, and David, appreciate you.
Bert?
I don't think I've got anything. Randy?
I don't have anything.
I want to say that I really appreciate all the hard work that's been done on preparing the site for the pavilion. I want to say thank you there. And it looks so wonderful driving down Main Street, seeing all those flags. So I want to say kudos. It was great. Thank you very much. And really, really appreciate the holes that you drilled and all the flags that were there. It looked like Hennessey was alive. I don't want to say Hennessy's dead, but it was just so revealing and so fantastic. And I want to say thank you very much for all that hard work that went into doing that. Thank you.
Since you brought up the pavilion, what do we need to do to get Richard's property back into our place?
I have a comment.
We need to sign some papers. Go, Tiffany.
The attorney is working on the deed paperwork right now. As soon as he gives me the deed, we will get Richard to sign it, and then we will give him a donation letter. But the attorney is working on it right now.
Thank you. I mean, since you brought it up,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we was on the go with that.
Yeah, we are.
So we don't lose it, you know?
Yeah.
Richard's 78 years old, we need to get it done.
Cliff, that's why I was trying to butt in. Richard had actually asked me, I didn't know Harold was in the loop on this.
Yeah.
Richard had asked me to bring this up tonight, and I was gonna bring it up in councilperson's report, and I actually let it slip my mind. You reminded me, and then Harold butted in on me again.
Oh, we got it done.
That's okay, we're done. Tiffany's on it. I'm
Okay.
happy.
We're just quicker thinkers, you know?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please. I ran out.
You're not leaving.
Pick it up. Pick 'em all.
Cliff,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Bert.
Chill.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, Randy,
Yes.
Too busy.
This is a Hennessey Utilities Authority Board of Trustees regular meeting, September 14th, 2023. Town Hall Council Room, call to order and roll call, please.
Randy,
Here.
Bert,
Here.
Cliff,
Here.
Harold,
Here.
Dave.
Here.
A, minutes of the meeting. B, approval of the claims as follows. 1, August purchase orders, $172.25. September purchase orders, $158,875.17. September meter deposit refund is 0. I make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Cliff,
Yes?
Randy,
Yes.
Bert,
Yep.
Harold,
Yeah.
Dave.
No,
3, citizens' comments.
May I ask a question?
Yes?
Dave, what is it that you're wanting that's not listed on those claims? that you-
I was gonna address that in council person's
Okay.
report, but if you want me to, I'll answer it right now, Cliff.
whatever
Go ahead.
it is.
Go ahead and answer.
Yes.
Okay, I have done some studying on, I haven't seen, and I'm not trying to be smart here, okay? I haven't seen the August purchase orders. I haven't seen the September purchase orders. Today's what? September, what's today? What's today's date? 14th? I've talked about this before, and you guys told me that we're only approving the September purchase orders up to date. And I understood that, the way you explained it. My problem is I haven't seen them. Does that make sense to you? So I'm feeling uncomfortable approving purchase orders that I haven't seen. So I've done some studying and networking with other towns, and I've got a specific report that I'm gonna be looking for out of the CIC database, and I'm gonna ask you guys to send that to me, and then I will review it. I like it being on the consent agenda. I'm not saying that, I've told you guys this before, I'm not saying that I wanna go over all this information in this meeting. I'm saying that I would like to have it in the read-aheads, where I can read it and go over it. And the odds are 99 to 100% of the time, I'm not gonna have any questions on it. But I at least wanna be able to review it, and I might have a question or two on it. And I'm not trying to hurt people's feelings, and I'm not trying to make people mad. I'm just trying to be more informed on what I'm voting yes on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I'm not trying to be antagonistic with anybody or confrontational. So that's my answer, Ms. Barb. Does that explain it?
Sort of. I thought, maybe you don't do it that way anymore, but I thought that all of the board members had the opportunity to go through all, whatever payments were gonna be made prior to the meeting. They don't do that anymore?
They come in after. They can come in once they get the agenda, because at noon on Wednesday, whatever payments we have in are the ones that are listed here. Nothing else is put in. And so that's what they're approving. But if he could tell me what report exactly he's wanting on that report, then we can print off that report and send that along with the agenda.
Yeah, the database pull is very easy, and it's electronic, no paper involved, and you can just put it out with the agendas. So I've actually got that report from another town, and you need the title and the number on it?
Is it from one with the CIC system?
CIC.
Okay.
Is that all you need, the title and the report
Yeah,
number?
the report number, got it.
And again, I'm back to a few minutes ago, I was talking about, I'd really like to get a list of reports that are available out of the CIC database.
There's so many,
Yeah,
there's not a list of just all the reports.
okay, I got it. In other words, a lot of the reports are customized, you pick and choose the information that comes out.
Yes,
Okay.
you tell us what information you want, and
Yeah.
then there may be 5 reports that give you that information. It just depends on how you
Okay.
want that
All right,
information organized.
and you guys understand where I'm going with this, right?
Yes.
I'm not trying to make enemies here, okay.
I still don't I guess I don't understand. Bert, what did you all used to do where you went over the? did
Well,
you
how
go
far
over-
back do you want me to go?
No, well, you know what I'm talking about, because
Back, way back.
Stone tablets.
Yeah,
Stone
way back. We got a report of all of the, and this one's when it was done by hand,
yes.
all of the purchases that we were going to approve claims for the night of the meeting. So if you had a $10 gas purchase at Love's, it was listed on there, whatever. Back at some point along the way, I know it was before Tiffany was here, before Shelley was here, all of that changed. I don't know exactly when, because when I come back on the board, it was being done the way we do it now, which each board member comes in and signs a set of claims for those purchases, but we don't see them all. Because I'll sign some, Cliff will sign some, Harold, David, and Randy will sign claims, but we don't each sign every claim. And correct me if I'm wrong, David, but I think what you're wanting to see is all of the purchases for a given time, right?
Yes, sir. Well, just look at number 2 there, September purchase orders, $158,875. To me, I'm a poor man. I've always been poor. And to me, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot.
Okay? So,
Heck of a lot.
but don't take me wrong, I don't mind that being in the consent agenda to where we don't have to go over every line in this meeting. I do not expect that. But again, I'm back to, I like information and I like to read. I even like to read numbers. So what I want to see is I want to see this stuff before I have to vote on it, or I'm going to vote no.
Tiffany, oh, I'm sorry, Nina.
That's okay, go ahead.
Tiffany,
I guess I don't understand why, I mean, I realize he's gonna get it on a computer now, but I don't understand why all those aren't available for anybody to look at.
they
They
are.
are.
I mean,
They are.
so, okay.
Yeah.
He just wants a
But-
list of them,
But
to
to,
where you
like,
don't have to go through every little, every invoice.
Okay.
I think what Tiffany said a while ago, it cuts off at noon on Wednesday. We meet on Thursday night. So if a board member wanted to see that, we'd have to get in here between noon and 5 o'clock on Wednesday, or 9 and whatever before the meeting on Thursday. But is there not a, I mean, could you just print a list of the purchase orders, like the August for these claims that we're approving, and the September for the claims we're approving?
Yes.
And we could all just have that a day or two ahead and just read the list.
Like I said,
That's what we used to
I don't
get.
expect you guys to go through it with me in the meeting. I don't expect that at all.
No,
And I don't
no.
expect her to go through it with me either. I just want to read it, and if I have questions, when we go to the consent agenda and Cliff's ringing out, roll call please, I want to know what I'm voting on before it's my turn to vote.
The only thing is if you have questions on it, you'll have to bring it down to a regular agenda item. You can't talk about it in the consent agenda.
Got it.
Okay, another thing is I think there's confusion in here on what it is. So like these purchases are under the town administrator or the department level items. Or if they're above, then they've already been voted on by the town board before the purchase. So I think that's why they changed the way they did things, because they were either contractual things that had been approved by the board, they were expenses above what the town administrator or the director of public works, whatever, could spend that were approved by the board, or they were below that threshold.
So this is not like the OG&E bill or the ONG bill or?
OG&E and your utilities do not have to be approved before you pay that, because they're,
They may come due before.
Yeah, but I was just
so
pulling.
that's the things that you see like during, like on this agenda item, it says August purchases. Those are actually utilities that were paid after the board meeting last month. So there's a little bit of I think, but I agree. I mean, he's looking at that $158,000. I had to go through the list today because I don't like that $158,000. But it includes some
And the
REAP grant and stuff like that they will pull out of that. So that's things like
I
that.
think, Tiffany, do you remember you were here, when we used to get a packet like the night before the meeting that had some of that type stuff in it. I'm wondering if that's something we could get like the day before the meeting, the evening before, the morning of, or something to give us, because it was always kind of, I think, enlightening to go through the list of all of those and just see what the town, who we were buying from and how much, and
I think that'll be part of that report, but.
yeah.
I mean, we print off a report to go through them all that lists every invoice for each company. It's in alphabetical order by vendor, and it shows each vendor and each invoice that was paid for that vendor, and actually shows you what departments it was charged to. And I'm thinking that's probably what report is going to refer to.
Okay, Barb?
Thank you. Well,
Okay. Number 4, other scheduled business, discuss, accept, approve, deny, reject, and/or take action on the following. A, discussion with possible action to approve change order for one of the REAP grant, KF 23-2, showing an increase of $32,411.50 of construction cost. We are tabling that. We are going to table, I'll go ahead, discussion with possible action to approve pay application number 2 for REAP grant number KF23-2 using local funds. We are going to table that. Discussion with the drainage on the 3rd and Mitchell Road on the CDBG grant number 1852312.
Right. The north side of, on 3rd Street, as it goes in the ditch, it's about 8 to 10 inches higher than it should, to me it looks to be. Is that right?
I didn't measure anything, but Tiffany asked me if I could go look at it, and I talked to Rivers. He was down there at the time they were watering the sod that they had put on, and I said, man, that looks like it goes uphill. He said, no, he said, we sprayed water in it, and it went right down. And I didn't say anything, but I can spray water uphill. So I went back later when they were gone, and I took 2 or 3 gallons of water and just dumped it at the road part of it, and it flowed to the drain, to the grate, and right down the grate. A little bit of it backed up and was along the north edge of that trough for about 3 feet, about 2 inches wide or 3 inches wide, and just sat there. We went back when we had the rain, I love that, and it was flowing as it appeared to be, by eye, the same rate that the south side was flowing, and was emptying out the road just fine. And when we went back there later after the rain, it was almost dry. So it's flowing, but it sure doesn't look like it would.
I went there today and there was no water.
Well, I drove by it and looked at it and all that, but it still looks like it runs uphill. The ditch on the other side is about, the drainage on the other side looks about a foot shallower than this part.
Right.
So it looks like when it gets a heavy rain, it's gonna hit to the south side before it goes to the north side, and just the hump on the street, it looks like it's right there at that point. I don't have an eye lever and I just kind of measured it, but I mean, all in my deal is we spent $500,000 on it. I want that street to drain right,
That's right.
And
For the 3rd time. What, did you think it looked higher on the south side?
well, it goes uphill. It goes uphill. There's a flat drain up there. And
On the north side?
on the north side. On the south side, all it is a runoff into the ditch.
Okay.
But the north side goes uphill, because all that ground over there now is all level, dirt. So it does look like it runs uphill, And I went by there sober, I went by there drunk, and it still looked like it runs uphill.
There is a slight belly to that, slight layback between the grate and the road. But like I said, the water sits there, but like I said, it's only a couple of inches for about 3 feet, and that evaporated pretty fast. So I don't think it doesn't look like it caused a problem, but I'm not an engineer.
I thought about
It
it,
definitely
going by there, looking.
I know it's sure
If it evens out.
the south ditch isn't holding water like it was.
No.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, just coming from Third Street this way, you know, I was just wondering how it goes up over here. And I thought maybe it might be one of them deals where they wanted to force it over to the south side before it drains to the north, you know. That way if we got a heavy rain, that most of the debris would go to the south side instead of going up into that drainage.
We can ask those questions at the final inspection on Monday for you, because everybody will be there.
They have not been paid final payment yet, correct?
No.
And will they be after the final inspection, or does that still have?
They still have to get on like, there'll be a punch list.
Yeah.
Okay, because I had a homeowner contact me, and I tried to call him before the meeting tonight, that had some concerns that hadn't been addressed.
Probably the same one that I spoke to.
And I wonder if I'm just wondering if they've been addressed now, and he's tried to call me back since we've been here, but I didn't want to step
Is that
out.
the sod?
Yeah,
Yeah. They still have to sod several driveways.
okay, and they know that?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
Discussion with possible action to approve quote from Warrior Roofing Solutions to repair roof on water plant. Insurance has approved the repair and proceeded with the claim for payment.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, John.
See you Monday.
Yeah.
Is that the loss report
It's,
For
yeah, it's at
the-
the very bottom.
30?
It's like several pages.
Yeah. Because I was confused, is the whole thing $47,000? Is that what I read?
Yes.
And that's for all of our town
Actually, it's 49.
buildings? So, but this is only talking about this. On the water
It's
plant.
49,222.86.
And we only got one bid.
Well, I got them because they were able to come like soon and get it, because right now with the rain, we're leaking inside above all of our electrical stuff, so we're like in a. And these were the people that came out and actually found,
Yeah, they get their money up and.
they had the drone and actually found that the roof was half off. Like, not actual, that, like it was damaged, otherwise we wouldn't have known until it rained.
Tiffany, is this the same roofing company that was working over here on the church?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was.
And they actually came in and found more damage than what the insurance people found. And so the insurance said at the end, they'll settle up with us with that additional damage that they found.
So I'm a bit confused. What is the insurance going to pay on that?
The insurance is gonna pay everything but $1,000.
Okay, that's our
Um,
deductible?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to use the quote from Warrior Roofing Solutions to repair the roof on the water plant as insurance has approved.
Well, second.
Roll call, please.
Cliff,
Yes?
Randy,
Yes.
Bert,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
E, Presentation by Alicia for the DEQ water inspection report with possible actions if needed.
Well, last year we had the DEQ engineer come down. It's more like an in-depth inspection, and we got 15 items marked against us. This year we only got 6, and all 6 of those are different. 3 of those have already been fixed. The first one's a sample tap on well number 1. We had it tore apart because David Fuchs is in the process of rebuilding that well. So we got that fixed. The vent screen on well number 2 was up inside of the 90, and they want it on the bottom of the 90. So we fixed that one. Number 3 is the only well where the actual well is outside of the well house. So there was evidence of mice being in there. So we got that all sealed off, and it sits flush with the ground now. Well number 4, the windows and the roof are needing replaced, so we're working on getting quotes for that. Number 5, we're waiting on one part to finish the discharge line outside. It's kind of a little bulb that holds the screen so nothing crawls up inside of there. And the last one is the wiring going into the well needs new conduit. They don't like having just caulking. So Caleb is working on that. That's all I got for this one.
Doesn't sound bad.
I asked them because DEQ comes once a year and inspects, and then that way you guys are aware of anything going on with them as well as the public.
Good idea. So the mice weren't getting into the water system?
No.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
On this one, that it says the small trees growing on the south side of the cells, on the
On the lagoon?
on the lagoon.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I probably jumped ahead, didn't I?
Yeah.
I apologize. Excuse me.
That's it.
I apologize. Thank you. Presentation by Brian Birch on DEQ located lagoon inspection report and possible actions if needed.
We got inspected on 8/18. That was the Friday after our 90-mile-an-hour windstorm, by the way. The slopes aren't maintained, has to be a 3-to-1 slope. Basically, the slope every 3 foot of depth of your lagoon, you have to have 1 foot of slope. Small trees growing on the south cells, your lagoons are going to grow trees. You just got to get them out of there, which if you drive by there now, they're gone. Recent rains has freeboard high, operated using land application to lower it. Right now, if you go look, I got more than 3 foot of room, so. And if you look in the bottom right corner, none of these are critical. These are just items that he said that needed to be corrected.
So what can we do with the slope? I mean, the slope was engineered and put in there when it was built, right?
Well, before I took these over, they got full. They were way full when I took this over, and it has eroded the slopes on the south cells. I have gotten quotes to repair themselves, and it was over $500,000 to do it. But we also have the grant, federal money grant that we did the study, and that is part of that, and they're looking into that too. It's doing repairs at the lagoons.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Question? Brian? Brian, I've got a fairly blunt question. Do you disagree with these write-ups that they put on you?
Do I disagree with them?
No? So they are deficiencies then?
There are deficiencies that can be
They
corrected,
need to be
yes.
fixed?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. I wanted to hear more from you if you disagreed with me.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, I have one question, if you don't mind, sir. We had a lot of debris. Are we able to take care of the debris that was from the storm that we had?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, appreciate it. And I'm sorry that I tried to jump for it. G is discussion with possible action to approve quote from Utility Technology Services to complete the new electronic meter change out.
So, I think this was some of the stuff that was mentioned at the last meeting about a purchase done without a purchase order or, it approved. But actually, it's a quote, and therefore, and it's more than what I can spend. So therefore, it needs to be approved by the board. But this is one thing that I think that we need to go ahead and get done, because right now we have like 80 meters still left in our old handheld, and that old handheld is about ready to die. So then they will actually be out manually writing them down, and we'd have to manually put them in a computer. But if we get those 80 meters in, then we can do away with that handheld. And not only that, I would like to go, right now we bill people by the 1,000 of gallons, and I would like to go to the actual gallon, to bill people by the actual gallon. Because therefore, when your bill differentiates between, say, 3,500 and 3,800, it's still the same amount. Whereas if we bill by the gallon, then people would see that their usage does change. And I think it would help people understand their bills a lot better. This includes a meter and an MXU. The MXU allows them to drive by and just pick up the reading into the handheld. They don't have to actually go out there and see the meter. They can just drive by and it would pick up into the handheld. And then we will also we still need 535 MXUs for the ones that we have the new meters in the ground for, which that's gonna be like $105,000. To me, that's not as dire need yet as we really need these 80 meters.
Tiffany, when you're saying MXU, they can drive by, is that as opposed to touch them with the wand?
Mm-hmm.
So the 535, they're still using the wand?
Correct. And most of those are in town where they can walk through the neighborhood and stuff.
Right.
I think there was only 100 and some out in the outside of town that still need MXUs, but most of them are in town. But once we get the MXUs, we can do the drive-by system. A lot of times, even when you get in your truck here, it'll start picking up meters all over town, and then you just have to go. So, but once we get the drive-by system going, then we would be able to put radios on top of the towers and be able to get meter reads from our computers with these MXUs.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
So actually, at that point, nobody would have to go out and read meters.
Correct.
It would all come just downloading. Wow.
So somebody could call you on the phone and says, hey, my water bill is like this, and you said, yeah, for instance, your toilet's running overnight. So you could actually tell them, since you got gallon by gallon, that you could see that that's going on. And this $29,875 is installed, or is this just purchasing the meters?
This is just purchasing the meters and the MXUs we need so that they can install them.
Okay, we install these?
Yes.
Okay.
We got the money.
Yes.
That's my question. We have the money.
I make a motion to purchase the meters for $29,875.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Cliff,
Yes?
Randy,
Yes.
Harold, Bert,
Yes.
Dave.
Yes.
Discuss with possible action to approve repair the well on number 7 motor, which may exceed $5,000.
Melissa, you're sure expensive.
I know, I'm just trying to save it all for 1 month. We don't have the exact cost yet because Caleb wants to go out there and pull it first and make sure. he orders the right one or gets the right information for it, so. It's just, that's it.
The last one we did on well 6 was like $4,800, and that was 3 years ago, so.
It was also a bigger pump on number 6. That was a 6-inch one, this one's only 4-inch, so.
So do we need to approve up to an amount?
If you could, so we can get that done, because well 7 is a good well that we need to
Well,
get.
it's safe on an amount, I mean,
We haven't had one done in, 3 years, so I know everything's went up quite a bit.
I'd say if you could do,
7,500 cover it,
yeah, or 10.
10?
I mean, it's something that we gotta get done, and
Make it 10.
And you guys want to shoot.
That's what we want to do.
I make a motion to approve repair of well number 7 motor up to the amount of $10,000.
I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Bert,
Yes.
Cliff,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
New business, any matter not known which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the time of posting the agenda in accordance with the section of 311-9, Title 25 OS. Citizen comments? Councilperson, Randy,
I don't have anything.
Bert, Harold, David?
Nothing, sir.
There was something that I wanted to put on the agenda and I forgot because I'm old. But I went and talked to our bank, Interbank, and they said that on our CD and our checking account that they can pay us better. Right now, our CDs are only getting like 0.25%, and they have a deal where it's going to be like a variable for 6 months is 3.5%, but then they have 11 months that's going to be 4% on interest. And I just wanted to make the board known that that's a possibility that we needed to take care of, and the bank is willing to do that for us at any time that we are able to do that.
I think that's something we're going to put on the agenda.
Yes, sir. I just wanted everybody to know that that's,
The school did all of that last 2 months ago.
yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
there will be a special meeting the week of the 25th. So maybe we could go ahead and put that on there
The
then.
week of the 25th.
Yeah, so you guys will have to come up with a date. It can't be on Monday, it's with the town attorney has requested a special meeting.
Okay.
Subject?
My contract?
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
A second.
Roll call, please.
look at y'all getting up and I haven't even been roll call yet.
Hey, I'm still writing.
I know. Cliff,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Harold,
Yes.
Bert.
Yes.
I thought you said no.